Alright guys, so welcome to the Hardware Canucks wish list segment. I know I promised this a few days ago. However, here we have the Western Digital TV Live media player. Now what this does is basically replaces the entire functionality of your HTPC or media PC into one very tiny little set-top box. And the great thing about it is that it will do full HD 1080p. Now if you think about it, in order to be able to play Blu-ray quality video on your media PC, you need at least a mainstream low-end, a dual-core processor, or a motherboard with integrated graphics and some RAM, and I guarantee you that is going to run you much more than the $130 to $150 price tag that this little thing carries with it. So hold tight, we're going to unbox it, we're going to take a look at the Gui interface, and we're going to make sure that this thing can in fact play the 1080p video. Alright, so we're going to take a quick look at the box and read off some of the specs because there's so many of them, I don't know them off the top of my head. First thing, this is the live version of the media player. There's actually a non-live version. What that signifies is that it is network capable, so it can connect to your home network and get files off of there. Now in terms of file support, it has your typical AVI, MPEG formats as well as MKV, things like MP4 and MOV formats. You also have photo support, JPEG, PNG, etc. Audio files, it supports things like MP3, your WMA, but it also has support for things like FLAC and OGG, as well as your Dolby Digital and your DTS support. Now the other cool thing about this is they partnered, or I assume partnered, with Live365.com and Pandora, which are both internet radio sites, so you can stream your internet radio straight from this into your home theater system. Other things, we already mentioned the 1080p. The other thing it'll do is it will stream directly from YouTube, so if you have one of these, you could be watching this video straight from it. Alright, so we're going to open it up, do a very quick unboxing here. You have your typical manuals, drivers, CDs, etc. Now this was what really impressed me. When I first looked at the box, I figured, okay, it's a fairly large unit. I open it up and this thing is incredibly tiny. It's about passport size. In fact, you look here, we have a 3.5 inch, a typical hard drive, and you look at the size difference. In terms of thickness, it is a little thicker, but just the physical size of the unit, it's very small. It's going to be very easy to hide behind your TV or right next to it. It's a sort of a classy looking device. You also have your remote basic functions, which is also very tiny. Then you have your audio video cables. Now they don't include an HDMI cable. You're going to need to purchase that separately. You have the AC adapter, and then, well, you have some complementary batteries. Excellent. So let's dive in and we'll take a look at the actual unit itself. All right, so on the back you have your power input, the rear USB, HDMI connection, your SPDIF optical connector, RJ45 network connection, and then your composite and your component outputs, and then you have a second USB on the side here, as well as I believe it's a reset switch, and you'll also notice some venting in and around here. I assume, I don't know the hardware specs, but it would probably get a little toasty when you're playing that 1080p video. On the front you have your power and your USB indicator lights. Alright, so we plugged it in, hooked it up through HDMI and put the power in. As you can see, it is very, very simple, just the two. If you have a receiver, you can hook it up through there so you don't have to have audio cables running out. Well, it was supposed to boot up, that was the intention. However, it's looking, oh there we go, excellent. Now what you'll notice is that the GUI interface on this unit is actually very slick. It's well designed, it's a little dark except for the center, and it's very, very smooth in terms of how it operates. I put some batteries in the remote, and we are going to take, you have some very basic settings here. There. You do notice the occasional little bit of lag, however that may just be the batteries in my remote dying. You can have you have your basic adjustments to video settings, including subtitles. It has a whole bunch of support for other subtitles. We have your basic photo settings. You know what, I'm actually not going to go through all of these, however they are just very simple settings that you would expect to have on nearly any sort of media style of device. Network settings, system settings. Let's pop into system settings. Okay, so you can change that, screensaver, autoplay. There's really not too much exciting in here, but it just sort of shows you that they've thought of everything. You're not going to be without any features. So let's play a video. Now what you have to do in order to hook up in order to get your media, you will either have to have an external hard drive plugged in. You can plug it directly into the USB, or you can hook this unit up to your network and you can host your files elsewhere, you know, if it's on a home server, on another computer, etc., and you can access it directly from there, or you can do what I'm doing and use a USB key and plug it straight into the side. Now you'll be able to use the USB key and an external drive at the same time because there are a couple of USB ports. And you go to your section here for, that's the other thing, you'll be able to browse YouTube straight from here. Let's go to there, scroll down. As you know, see a little bit of lag on occasion. But it's really not too bad. I don't notice it at all. USB 2, this is where it'll show your other files, folders, etc. And let's take a look. This is a 1080p video provided by Microsoft. It's sort of a sample file. Beautiful colors. There's no lag. I'm looking now, no lag whatsoever in the video. Zooms forward perfectly. You have some really, really high color situations here. It displays, well, it displays perfectly. I'm quite impressed. Now if you stop your DVD, you'll also be able to restart where you left off. So just boom, there we are, playback original. Fast forward, it goes up, you have 2 times, 4 times, 8 times, I assume up to 16 times. There we are there, and you can play again. Excellent, and it plays flawlessly when you start it off again. Little flying scene here, lots of colors, lots of things going on, and flawless video. So that is our look at the Western Digital TV Live. There are a few other options out there, however, that I should mention. There's also the Asus OPlay and the Patriot Box Office, I believe it's called. Hopefully, I may have a chance to take a look at them, but they're all going to offer the same sort of functionality that the Western Digital TV Live will. And also, don't forget to send in your suggestions for future wish list episodes. We want to see and review what you guys want to see before Christmas. So send them in, leave them in a comment in the YouTube section, and we're going to try and get through as many of the popular ones as we can. And don't forget to subscribe, guys. So we'll see you next time.